Thank you for joining us for this Local Decision 2016 candidate debate here on North Metro TV. Today I'm glad to be joined by the candidates running for Anoka County Commissioner in District 3, incumbent Robin West and the challenger Niall Zickman. Thank you both for being here. I appreciate your time.
You're welcome.
We're going to start tonight with opening statements. After that, we'll go into a question and answer segment. After we're done with the questions that we have for the candidates, they'll have an opportunity to ask each other a question if they choose. Then we'll finish up with closing statements after that. Robin, you're up first with your opening statement, and you have 1 minute.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of this debate tonight. I am Robin West, and I am privileged to serve the people in District 3 and Anoka County Board. My husband Jay and I have lived in Anoka County over 35 years, and we also both graduated from Anoka High School. I belong to several service organizations, TPC Rose, the Rotary, which I'm on with him, and also I am a board member of the Anoka County Community Action Program. And I'm really proud of the board's accomplishments over my tenure on the county board. I'm particularly proud to say that our levy today is nearly the same as it was in 2010, and we have been able to avoid borrowing for several years so we can pay off $50 million in debt. And you know, we've still continued to implement the lean processes through Anoka County, and we have done that resulting in a better, more effective delivery of services. And I'm proud of these accomplishments of the county board.
Thank you for your opening statement. Niall, now your opportunity for your opening statement.
Well, thank you, Ben. I just want to introduce myself to the voters. I've been a lifelong resident of the City of Blaine, married 35 years. Son Madison, we posted 7 exchange students. Academically, I have an undergraduate degree in fire science and education and industrial arts secondary education. I wanted to be a woodshop teacher. Master's degree in public administration. I'm a graduate of the Executive Fire Officer program from the National Fire Academy. In terms of community involvement, I've been a lifelong scout, first as a youth and the last 35 as an adult leader. 35 years at St. Tim's, almost the same in Rotary. I was a president of the previous Rotary Club, and now I'm a charter member of the current Blaine and Ham Lake Rotary Club. And then 34 years with the Spring Lake Park Blaine Mountains View Fire Department, 28 of those as a volunteer, and then the last 21 as the fire chief, adjunct instructor for the National Fire Academy, and then also Hamlin University. And you know, through that community service, I've been enriched in serving our community, and it's enriched my life.
Thank you both for your opening statements. We're going to move in now to our question and answer segment. Niall, you'll be first on the first question, and this question is talking about the county budget. How will you prioritize when it comes to the county budget? If you had to cut, where would you look first? If there were additional funds that came in, where would you want to direct those to first? How would you prioritize?
So between the 5 different businesses I've started and then running the 5th largest department in the state of Minnesota, working with 3 different cities and spending 20 years down at the state capitol as an advocate for the Minnesota Fire Chiefs, I've spent a lot of time with budgets, and it's all about prioritizing. And it really is a simple equation of value. Budgets simply reflect what it is, people value. When you look at what, government services provide, I obviously was chief of one of those core functions, public safety. People value that, and so then within that, you have to determine, what you can and can't afford, and oftentimes it's a matter of making a plan. In terms of the county budget, I've had a measure of time to study. It's a $282 million budget with the grants coming through, so it's a fair size of money, $250 million. And certainly a chunk of that is the human services, which is passed through, but in terms of the actual levy, you get a big chunk going to public safety, which I think is inappropriate, and then you get into the roads. And then from there, you kind of go down in certainly the public works and taking care of that. And so it will be that same equation of trying to balance what the constituents want, because that's really what you are, is a reflection of those constituents, and then putting those priorities to reflect that.
Thank you for your answer. Robin, same question to you. How will you prioritize when it comes to the county budget? If you had to cut, where would you look first? If there were additional funds, where would you want to direct those dollars to first?
Well, we look to the management and the workers of the county to decide where the needs are. And with this last budget, our administrator and his managers discussed what are your needs this year? What increases are you going to need? And so they know their jobs. I don't do their jobs. That's not my job to do their jobs. So we are, we set policy and we give direction to the administrators. He leads his team. And so that is mainly how we do it. And we've used the lean Kaizen process, so we have already created lean methods of doing the business. And obviously, public safety is an extremely important area, and a lot of that comes out of the sheriff's office. And he decides his, priorities in his budget. But as far as cutting, when we first cut 6 years ago, we asked the people who work in the county, where can you cut? And we were able to cut by almost 11% over a 3 or 4 year period.
Thank you for your answer. After each question, you'll be offered 15 seconds for rebuttal or response time. It's your choice if you choose to use it. Would anyone like it after this question? Niall? Yes.
So I would just offer, at SBM, I ran that department at a $2.2 million budget, which is a half to a third of any other similar size. And I didn't do it through cuts. I did it through reform. I did it through investments into technologies and the people that made us more efficient.
Thank you. Robin?
Well, I would venture to say, I guess if it's a matter of words, we did it through reform too, is we did things differently.
Thank you. All right, let's move on to the next question, talking about roads, and specifically about Highway 65. There's talk with MnDOT, but it's not in any MnDOT long-term plan, any improvements to 65. Robin, how would you like to see congestion along Highway 65 addressed in these next few years?
Well, it is a very frustrating experience to have to deal with traveling on 65 or across 65. Right now, there's a 65 coalition that Anoka County has had, and it kind of got a little slow, and it's been revitalized, and Blaine has been included in it. Doug Fisher, our county engineer, is in discussions with MnDOT right now, and they are discovering that I think we're going to see things happen sooner than expected, but they don't have any details worked out, so they can't tell us the details. So, but I think it's too bad about all the development that happens, and then once we finally do get to this project, then what do? You have to buy all these expensive buildings or whatever. So I just think there's going to be change. I know we've already changed in the northern part of 65, and in our last transportation meeting, they talked about they have some of these J-turns up north planned, and I don't understand highway engineering, but that is supposed to affect us in Blaine as well.
Thank you for your answer. Niall, same question to you. How would you like to see congestion along Highway 65 addressed in the next few years?
So the only solution to the congestion is to build expansion into the roadway. And I'm very open in running on it. We need to restore the wheelage tax. It's a $10 tab fee. It's scheduled to go up to $20, but then it'll generate twice as much money. Simply put, the county is actually in control of getting construction going on 65 because we need to pay our east-west legs, in the case of 109th, for example. Until we demonstrate our willingness to pay our share, you're not going to see the state come in and get serious about building extra capacity on 65. It's incumbent upon us to take the leadership role. We're one of the only counties in the metro area that repealed the wheelage tax. So the state is taking their limited resources, which they estimate will run out in 2023. There'll be no new construction after that. So either we want to pay for our roads and bridges or we want to sit in the congestion. I'm not willing to sit around and wait and on the hope. It hasn't happened yet, and it's getting critical. It's shutting down our future business opportunities.
Thank you for your answer. Rebuttal time, if anyone would like it.
Well, I'd
Yes,
say
Robin.
the wheelage tax is going to go up to 20, or if it isn't already. And it applies to lots of different vehicles people have in their homes. So it isn't as cheap as people think. And Anoka County has supplemented through other resources within our budget when we repealed the wheelage tax.
Niall?
And so I will just share from the very documents provided by the Transportation Department at Anoka County, the amount of levy and dollars going into transportation is actually going down.
All right. We'll move on to another topic then. Let's talk about an aspect of public safety. Niall, you'll be first on this question. Do you support body cameras for all law enforcement officers in Anoka County that would be active all the time?
So, the whole issue of body cameras has got a much greater, a question than just putting them on, because there's an enormous cost in that. I'm certainly a tireless advocate of public safety. And if at the end of the day, that issue is still being worked through even across this nation, as we've seen countless examples where the cameras have been there and we've not had conclusive evidence. If, in fact, that improves overall public safety, I will absolutely be a staunch supporter. But you've got the cost issue. There's a huge storage issue and a cost associated with that. And so that gets back to that balance. Is that the magic pill? I'm not sure we're there yet. It's similar to our thermal imaging when they first came out. They're $25,000. I resisted buying them. They're down at $8,000 now. The value is there. We're getting the return. I think it's going to be the same issue with body cameras. We've still got a ways to go to work through whether or not that technology is going to be the answer to everything we need.
Thank you for your answer. Robin, same question to you now. Do you support body cameras for all law enforcement officers in Anoka County that would be active all the time?
Well, I suppose when they started wearing the vests they wear, that probably was a question, and not everybody was on board. I don't know, but I would defer to the sheriff for the need, and if our sheriff decided that it was a need, I would certainly want to pursue a way to make it happen. I cannot. I'm not in law enforcement, so that's what I have to say.
Thank you for your answer. Would anyone like rebuttal time on that question? Does not appear so. All right. Let's move on to talk specifically about District 3. If you go to the county board, you're there to address issues that are before the whole county, but you're representing District 3. Robin, what is something, if you are reelected, that you would want to accomplish specifically for your district?
I don't know why I'm drawing a blank at that, because I think I would like to see more economic development, but I do believe that is the job of people in the field of economic development. But I think that one of the most important things to bring economic development is good roads and a low tax climate. And some people don't think they care about low taxes, but I have talked to many, many people, businesses, and they're very upset about the high taxes that they have to pay. And of course, they pay, I think it's 3 times more than a resident for their property taxes. So.
Thank you for your answer. Niall, same question to you now. What is something that you would like to do or would like to accomplish for your district if you were elected to the county board?
It's incredibly simple. We need to deal with the roads and traffic and ease the congestion. It's the gateway to economic development. It simply isn't going to happen until we relieve the congestion and create the pathways for our people to get around and for the businesses to move their goods and services around. So I would work tirelessly to work on those intersections, and we have a golden opportunity now. As the development continues, these intersections are going to get more expensive. The cost of doing Viking Boulevard compared to 109th is a half to a third because there's no development there. So now is the time to address those, especially when interest rates have been as low as they've been in the history of the last 100 years. So yes, get the roads expanded.
Thank you for your answer. Rebuttal time, anyone?
Well,
Yes, Robin?
I agree. As I even stated, the roads are the gateway. The roads are crucial to economic development. I know when I first came here, Radisson Road was like an ox cart trail.
Thank you. Now, did you need any extra time?
No, that's the question.
We'll move, we're going to circle back now to public safety again with another question about that. Niall, you'll be first on this question. It's clear both nationally and locally that tension is high between segments of the law enforcement community and minority communities. How will you work to create an environment in Anoka County to address these issues? Niall?
So that it's a simple equation. We've mastered it, if you will, perfected it at the fire department. You go out and meet with the community on a regular basis. If you look at the number of programs that we initiated at the fire department, the vast majority of those were outreach, public safety, public education. 2012, the city of Blaine did a citizen survey, and the department ranked #1 in quality and #1 in essentiality out of 26 services. The mayor asked me, "Chief, can you explain that?" I said, "Mayor, we're not the most essential, the police are, but I would tell you it's because we care about what the citizens care about, and we went out and talked to them. They care about the kids. We have 3 different kids programs: bike helmet, safety camp. They care about their parents. We have senior safety. They care about their houses. We do home safety survey." You break down those barriers by going out to the community in a non-threatening, helpful way, and we have wonderful relationships, and it was reflected in that survey.
Thank you for your answer. Robin, same question to you now. It's clear both nationally and locally that there's high tension between segments of the law enforcement community and minority communities. How will you work to create an environment in Anoka County to address these issues?
Well, I think as county commissioners, we ourselves represent Anoka County, so how we interact with people just in our day-to-day activities. We already have used the parks for a lot of outreach to people in the community, to children, a lot of children's things. Now, I'm not in charge of the sheriff's department, but I support our law enforcement people using our gun range and using the different facilities that are available to engage people. I think when the sheriff does his tour is a very good activity to make people feel comfortable being there where police work happens.
Thank you for your answer. Rebuttal time, anyone? Okay. Next question. Robin, you'll be first on this question. What do you think is the most important part of being a county commissioner?
Well, I think engaging with the community, because in our representative system, if I'm not there speaking on behalf of the people who elect me, they don't have a voice. And so in my experience over these years, I go to many, many activities. People say, "I see you everywhere I go." And I think that's really important to do. It's easy for me to engage with people. It's just natural. My husband says I've never met a stranger. But you've got to be active, and you have to go to stuff, and support people in like when the city has their National Night Out or their Night to Unite. I attend as many of those things as I can every single time, not just when I'm running for election. Go to the galas I'm very active in the nonprofits and I spend hundreds of dollars at galas and fundraisers and just engaging with people.
Thank you for your answer. Niall, same question to you now. What do you think is the most important part of being a county commissioner?
So we're in charge of a community, if you will, of 300 and some thousand people and a $250 million budget. And as the leaders of that, it's our job to develop and formulate a vision for the future. That certainly includes getting, constituent feedback, not only from the residents, but the business community. But really, that is our job, is to have that vision and then bring the leadership to bring that vision forward. It's born of that input from that constituent interaction. But until we have a cohesive, strategic plan, if you will, it'll be really difficult to move forward in a very accomplished way. And so it's no different. Again, as the leader of the fire department, I worked with the board to develop the vision there, and then I carried it out. And so the policy board is the one that is your #1 goal, is to develop that vision to move the county forward.
Thank you for your answer. Rebuttal time, anyone?
Well, I would say that who you choose to run the organization, as far as the CEO or the administrator, takes the direction that you give him or her, and that just carries through.
Thank you. Niall, did you? Okay. Let's talk next about transit. Niall, there's in Anoka County, we know North Star goes through a portion of the county. We know there's the express bus that goes from East Bethel to Ham Lake to Blaine and then straight to downtown Minneapolis. But what if any type of transit projects would you want to bring into the county or expand in the county if you were a commissioner?
I think the transit program in Anoka County is one of the success stories, and you would build upon that primarily through those bus park and rides. When they just opened one next to the fire department here, and it instantly filled up. And you look at the one over by the 35W, you know, there's funding to do the study for the third lane on 35W. There's no funding to build it yet, but clearly that's what's going to fit us very well, is to do those park and rides, use those transit buses, those fast lanes when they get built. The commuter rail is set, that's there, it's operational. And then the connecting buses, need to obviously, the traveler to bring those people that don't have transportation to those hubs so they can get on those transit buses. And so just expand that existing system, because you've already built it and it's there, you just, I think, need some more park and rides.
Thank you for your answer. Robin, same question to you. What, if any, transit projects would you want to bring to or expand in Anoka County?
Well, I think the park and ride at 95th has been extremely successful. In fact, two of my kids went to the University of Minnesota the whole 4 years on those buses. And I think we could expand the new one that he's talking about by the fire station at Paul Parkway in Ulysses. That has been very, very successful. Now, I don't think there's any room to expand the parking lot, so we might start another location. And when we started that, we wanted to go up the 65 with stops. So the Traveler, I just noticed that it doesn't have many passengers, and then some of the regular bus routes that we have, I don't see many passengers. And I don't know if it's because they need more buses. That doesn't seem logical to me. Another thing is to promote more ridership on the North Star commuter rail. That also has not gone anywhere in the 8 years it's been open. But we do try, on the county board, we do try to create situations or just to get people aware that it's available to be used.
Thank you for your answer. Rebuttal time, anyone? Okay. Let's go to the one of the last questions from me, just a couple more. This one's more about the amenities in the county, not the services that the county provides, but the amenities that the county provides for its residents. We think about parks, trails, libraries, and there's more than just that. But do you think that everyone is being served by the amenities that are here now? Are there more amenities of this kind that you'd like to see come into the community, and are they worth the costs that they take to maintain and operate them? Robin, you're first on this question.
Well, we have an amazing amount of amenities through our park system. Bunker Beach, that's one of the most popular things in the Twin Cities in the summer. It supports itself. Chamonix Golf Course. Now they've had, a lot of golf courses have trouble this year because of the amount of rain we've had. It's a beautiful golf course. Our parks, we have, some that are a little more developed, some that are a little less developed. We have campgrounds, amazing trails in the Rice Creek system and throughout our parks. You can canoeing, kayaking. It seems to me we have certainly enough to meet the interests of many people. And I'll say I have used the campgrounds when my kids were small. Go camping, 4 miles from home. Easy.
Thank you for your answer. Niall, same question to you now, talking about amenities that the county provides. Do you think everyone is served by the amenities that are in place? Are there more amenities of this kind that you would like to see come into the community? And are they worth the cost that it takes the county to maintain them and operate them?
So you're back to that value question, but my assessment living here 58 years is we have an adequate number of parks. There's not a constituent group crying or advocating for more parks. There's some talk about a library over on the east side, Lionel Lakes, that's been promised for a number of years, but I don't know that I've heard a large constituency for that. And certainly the trail system, I think, is one of the best. And so it's a matter of maintaining and making sure we make those investments. And Again, everybody values, some people value parks, some value libraries, but when you want a new amenity, you'll get a constituent group, bring that forward, and I think those types of things are things better suited for a bond referendum. I don't see anything that's needed right away, but if it came to the forefront, we'd talk about it and discuss it and put it through the process to see, if there was enough support for something like that. But I think as it is, other than maybe that library I mentioned, I'm not seeing a lot. I've heard a bit about expanded library hours, and I know they've had to contract, their library hours because of budget cuts. Are people adapting and still getting the library? I think so. Could we add? That'd be something maybe we could look at.
Thank you for your answer. Rebuttal time, anyone? All right. Let's move to the last question that I have for you today. It's a question that we're asking in every single debate. It's the only question that every debate is going to get this year. All 17 of them will hear this question. It speaks to unity. Across America, we're seeing deep divisions among races, religions, ages, socioeconomic classes, and political parties. How will you work to foster a spirit of unity, both right at the county government and in the county office building, and then also in your own community? Niall, you're first on this question.
Well, I think I would just continue to do what I'm doing. As I mentioned earlier, 20 years of legislative advocacy for the Minnesota Fire Chiefs. And we passed major legislation under all 4 governors. For me, it's not about the partisan, it's about public policy, and I agree, that's one of the worst problems we have is the partisan nature. I ran for this office in particular because it was nonpartisan, but I found that if you just focus on the issue and you're willing to compromise and accept that you don't have the answer to everything, it's better if it is. It'll only survive long term if it's built through a coalition. And so you're back to under Governor Carlson, under Governor Pawlenty, under Governor Dayton, under Governor Ventura, we passed major legislation in all of those. And whether the House had the majority or the Senate had the majority, whoever it was, we worked through all that issues. And then, working on the fire department, working with 3 city councils and a fire board and a city manager. I worked with 27 policymakers. And again, I'm proud of the accomplishments we made there, operating at half the price and yet having, the highest rated. So I would just continue because the philosophy is it's what's best for the community. Community interest, not self-interest, and that's how you work through it.
Thank you for your answer. Robin, same question to you now. How will you work to foster a spirit of unity, both at the county government and then also right in your own community?
Well, in Anoka County, we deliver services to many, many different people. And in my experience, I have not seen anyone mistreated by people who work for the county. And I naturally, like I said to you before, it's very easy for me to engage with people. I come from a very diverse family, extremely diverse family. And my parents, right from the get-go, even when you learn to say eeny, meeny, miny, mo, they taught me a very neutral way to say that, and where other kids used the wrong language. In fact, I didn't even understand that there was a bad way to say it. But I think that you can't tolerate any employee or anyone that works for our county to treat people poorly. And you create those events of engagement that we talked about earlier. We, as county commissioners, we get involved right with everybody, and in fact, we stand for pie throwing when we're raising money now. I don't know if you're aware of that, but it's just the example that you set before people is very important, and just showing love and tolerance.
Thank you both for your answers. Rebuttal time, anyone? Okay. Now we're going to move to the opportunity that you have to ask your opponent a question. Robin, you have the first opportunity here, and you'll be able to ask a question to Niall. Niall, then you'll have time to respond to that question.
All right. Well, I want to ask you a question about this literature that you are passing around. And I'm just going to read some of the things that you said on it. The county turned the 105th back to Blaine with a $3.5 million repair bill. Well, the county turned the road back to Blaine with a check, not a bill. It says, the county has no plan to improve 65. The county is actively involved with 65, as we've talked about earlier too. The public safety data system does not work and has a lot of problems. Well, talking to the county staff who uses it all the time, they say it is working great. Failure to manage finances. Everyone knows that going from AAA to a AA plus is a very small adjustment, which was made based on our demographics. But we were upgraded from stable to strong. And you said that the 2017 levy is going to be 3.5%. Well, yesterday we set our preliminary levy at 2.5%. And the chair announced that. And you stated on your Facebook page that it was 3.5%, and you were at that meeting and heard it. Your website says that as our county commissioner,
Robin,
we can count on the
Can you go to your
truth.
question now, please?
Why all the blatant misrepresentations?
Go ahead.
So do I get full time?
Yep.
So the county did turn back 105th to the city of Blaine with $1.1 million. It's going to cost $5 million to rebuild that road. So the question is, why should the citizens of Blaine pay $4 million to rebuild and repair a road that they never owned? The 65, 105th, 109th, the improvements, again, I've already mentioned, the county takes the lead until we put the wheelage tax on and show that we're going to fund our legs. There is no plan. You can say you're going to do something, but until you're willing to fund it, there is no plan. The county levy, yes, 2.5%, but at the workshop, you have to include the public safety levy. You're taxing it. It's 1.25%. When added to the 2.5% is 3.75%. It went on last year, and again, Jerry Soma in the workshop, it's 2.5 plus the 1.25. You are levying the public safety data, so it adds up to that. The public safety data system is not working. There are two major modules law enforcement is not using. The Anoka County fire chiefs are looking at a different dispatch center because the service is so horrible. We don't know anybody who's there. We used to know people by name over their voice. This is serious stuff, and so I'm running because I think we need to address some of these issues, but I would defend every one of those statements with facts that I've got documents on.
Thank you for your answer.
Our policy is to repair by mill and overlay. We offered reclaim and overlay, and that would have given them a very good road. And they wanted more. It's nice to have, but we can't pay for the whole thing, and we don't have a public safety levy this time. And they said that as you were walking out.
Thank you for that. Niall, it's now your opportunity to ask Robin a question.
So I'm obviously a very big public safety advocate. So my question is a public safety issue. And so I'll give the question to the commissioner. And the question is, what is your plan to address the multitude of public safety issues, turnover in the jail, patrol, and dispatch center and staff that's dramatically increasing the chance for errors, increase in both domestic and terrorist threats to our citizens and our businesses, and finally, the increasing horrific crime of human sex trafficking that's occurring, not only in our county, but a big article in the Star Tribune today in Hennepin County.
Well, we just rebuilt their system, where they sit and they put the TVs and all the interaction in them. You know that, right?
Right,
Are you talking about something different?
I'm talking about the turnover of staff.
Well, the turnover of staff, the sheriff has many positions that are open. I have statistics here about turnover, and our turnover is the same as Dakota, Ramsey, and Washington County. Boomers are retiring. There are not the amount of people available to hire. They're just not out there. And I would guess that some of it has to do with training.
Okay.
So the question is, what's the plan? I know that.
Well, the plan is you do what you can do.
Okay.
But if the people aren't there and someone else attracts them away, by the way, they are a union, you know, that we have to pay them what their union negotiation ends up.
All right. Any more on that? Niall, did you have any? You have 15 seconds if you choose.
No, I think I've asked the question and given her the opportunity, so we'll
Okay.
just
Well, thank
leave
you
it at
both
that.
for that exchange. We're going to move now to closing statements. You each have a minute for your closing statement. I'll let you both get ready for that here, and just remind everyone that they can always go to northmetrotv.com for the complete local decision coverage. It's all on there for you. And so remember, after watching this debate, you can see several more on there. But let's finish up with our closing statements. Robin, you're first.
Our mission in Anoka County Board is to serve the citizens in a respectful, innovative, and responsible manner, and the accomplishments of our county board are reflective of that. My core values of personal integrity, fiscal responsibility, and commitment to community drive how I operate in the county and in my personal life, and I'm proud to have kept taxes low and maintain an environment that is good for economic development. And I plan to continue to build the relationships that are necessary to create an environment and maintain an environment to get businesses into our county, keep the roads in good shape, and to continue to create a place where people want to live, work, and play.
Thank you for your closing statement. Niall, now your opportunity for your closing statement.
So I'd like to just offer for people to visit my webpage and look at all of the issues I have them very detailed. I talk about the future. Look at my endorsement page. You will see a multitude of endorsements from business, from labor groups, a scouting endorsement, a teacher endorsement, the Veterans Party endorsement, which says I'm not a Democrat, I'm not a Republican, I'm an American, and the Independence Party resolution of support. And so for me, it's always been an honor and a privilege to serve. It's all about community interest, not self-interest. In the 34 years that I was on the department serving you, I never forgot that. And if I'm fortunate enough to get your support to be your county commissioner, I'll never forget it in that either. So thank you, and have a good night.
Thank you for that. Thank you both for coming in today, taking the time to share your views and opinions with us. I appreciate your time. And I want to remind you that this was a local decision debate here on North Metro TV for Anoka County Commissioner District 3 between the incumbent Robin West and the challenger Niall Zickman. Thank you all for watching. I've been your moderator, Ben Hale. We'll see you next time.